1. Welcome inside the Quiet Storm, baby. Ladies, I've told you we have a special, amazing guest that is coming by tonight. And I'm not going to disappoint you by no means. I want you to hold on to something. Because in being in the presence of this brother, and I don't mean to embarrass him, but being in the presence of this brother, especially when he's working, I have noticed and I have observed the reaction that you give to him once he steps into the room. And understandably so. You know, the brother definitely brings a lot to the table. Well-decorated actor, one might say, Black Hollywood to his finest, a man who has done film, television, and stage. And I just recently saw him in the wonderful, amazing Broadway show, A Soldier's Play. Phenomenal. It is a pleasure and honor to welcome back to the Quiet Storm, Brother Blair Underwood.
Lenny Green, you know, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you more, King.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Good to be seen and good to see you. You're looking well.
Thank you, sir. Right back at you. Might have to grab that jacket off you. I'm just saying.
Come on, brother. This is the only jacket I have. So don't grab this one. But great to see you, man. And you have done just a phenomenal body of work in its entirety. So I applaud you for all that you've done. But this is the first time, when I went to a Broadway show and saw A Soldier's Play, this is the first time I actually saw you on stage. And can I say, brother, flawless? Flawless. And I'm not here to stroke your ego. I'm just here to keep it 100% real. I thoroughly enjoyed your performance from the time you stepped out on that stage to the time that show was over.
Man,
you have done it. You delivered it. You knew it. And I'm like, how long did this brother study before this actually went up to Broadway?
Well, listen, I mean, first of all, we got an incredible cast. You know, David Allen Greer, of course, Jerry O'Connell, and it's a cast of 12 men.
Amazing.
And just the ensemble. I mentioned them because you've seen the play. You know that thing is a well-oiled machine with 12 people on fire every night, twice on Wednesday and twice on Saturday.
Brother, you working a lot.
Yeah, man. I'm not doing 9 shows a week, 5 hours at pop like you. That's still crazy to me. But yeah, no, we do 8 shows a week. But nah, you know, we only rehearsed about 4 weeks before we got in front of the first audience.
Really?
And now, you know, that was the day after Christmas, December 26th. So we got 2.5 more weeks. We closed March 15th, but we've been running now for about 2 months now.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the tri-state of New York, I would strongly urge you to go to see this play. It's at the American Airlines Theater, A Soldier's Play. And it's so relevant to a small degree of what is going on in the world today.
Yeah, man, it's heavy. You know, and I have to give props, and always want to give props and respect to the Negro Ensemble Company, who originally produced in the 1980s, ran for 2 years, starred Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Jim Pickens, so many other people. Featured a young David Allen Greer in his final months.
That's right.
And then, of course, it turned into A Soldier's Story, the movie, in 1983. But this is the first time it's ever been on Broadway. And it took this long for whatever reason to bring it all the way to Broadway. But man, yeah, it's ultimately, for those who haven't seen it or don't know the story, it's a murder mystery. At its heart, it's a whodunit. But that's just our access point, man. You know, and you've seen it. You know, it really just delves into and uncovers all these different perspectives of men, 9 black, 3 white. And each one, you see their different vantage point on race relations, on themselves, how they're presented through the military, through their manhood, how it's compromised, how it's challenged. My character's Captain Davenport, who comes in and investigates the murder of David Allen Greer's character, Sergeant Waters. And we're talking 1944, World War II, Louisiana. So we're dealing with the South, we're dealing with a certain amount of history. But as you said, man, so much of that it resonates because it's relevant today.
Racism has surfaced. It was always there. It's always been there. It's never it never evaded. It never erased itself from history. But it's more prevalent these days. We see it so stronger these days, and we're dealing with a lot of issues, just as in the 1940s almost these days. We're treated a certain way these days. You have an equal rank as a captain and as a lawyer in this production, and the counterpart of Jerry O'Connell, he says, I'm not accustomed to addressing a man of color who's equal to me.
Yeah. Seeing a Negro wearing bars and ranks, I'm just not used to it. But the beauty, the way it's written, but also the way Kenny Leon directed it, is it is a matter of fact. It's not even angry. I'm talking about Jerry's character. He's not even angry. So it's just I'm not used to it.
Right.
I've never seen a Negro like this. It's just the way I was raised. So it makes it. You know, when somebody's just angry and bitter and there's vitriol, it's easier to dismiss them or hate them. But that's not how it always is.
No, it's not. His name is Blair Underwood. In case you haven't caught the voice, if you're just looking at us, Blair Underwood with us tonight inside the Quiet Storm. I want to go into, I know you love music. I know you listen to radio all the time, and bless you for that. Appreciate that. That means you have a great record collection. That means you have a few favorite slow jams, and I just want to pick your brain on which one is your favorite right now so I can go into it.
Hey, man, my first slow dance in junior high school was Reasons.
By Earth, Wind & Fire,
Earth,
really?
Wind & Fire, Reasons. That's the classic. I mean, so many of Lionel Richie, 3 Times a Lady. I mean, I'm going back. I mean, to my classics.
Right,
my
exactly.
childhood growing up.
Brother, looking at your body of work, as I mentioned a little earlier, from L.A. Law to Set It Off to where you are now on Broadway. I mean, you have jumped in leaps and bounds, man. And when you look at your body of work, and I know your humbleness because you and I are born on the same side. You're September 24th?
August 25th, but close.
Oh, August.
Yeah.
I'm September 1st. I'm right behind you. I understand your dedication. I understand your heart. But when you look at your body of work, what do you say?
Man, I'm filled with gratitude. I mean, when I first came to this city in New York, it was 1985. I had just come out of college. I had to leave. I was at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. I had to leave because we couldn't afford to stay. So, it was just one of those leaps of faith. Take whatever God has given you, whatever training I had. I was in school for 2.5 years at that time, and hopefully something will come of it. So when I look at that time when I moved here in January of 85 to now, I'm just filled with profound gratitude. I mean, a lot of hard work, but a lot of people work hard. A lot of people are talented. You never know how what path your life is going to take. So, man, I'm grateful. I live 3 blocks from the theater, the American Airlines Theater. I was one of those kids that, wanted to act, wanted to do film and television, but I also always wanted to do theater. I started in the theater.
Right out of high school?
During high school, I was doing local dinner theaters in Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
Initially, I worked with Miss Marie Manigo, one of my favorite teachers and mentors in Petersburg, Virginia. And I went on and did plays in Richmond, and then I went to Carnegie Mellon and studied theater. So I was one of those kids that dreamt about being on Broadway one day. So to be able to do it now, and the first time was 8 years ago, we did A Streetcar Named Desire.
Yep.
I'm just grateful.
Theater is not an easy walk in the park.
Well, that's why I love it. It's our medium as actors. There's no editor who's going to cut your pause or your beats. Nobody's going to come and change it. Once the curtain goes up, it's ours to do it.
And just to know, man, how well you studied your craft and how well you have done every part of the lessons that have been taught to you over the years. When you stepped on that stage, man, in a soldier's play, yo, brother, he narrates through the entire play, and it was just amazing to me how you just consumed the role, obviously, as you do with all the roles that you've done, but your delivery, your presentation was impactful and effective, and in speaking to the young actors that are listening to us tonight. How do you perfect that craft so elegantly? Is it because of the study? Is it because of the natural ability that you have, the God-given ability that you have? This is a destined career path that has been chosen for you, and you have expounded on it, even though you may have questioned it at some time in your life. You realize that this is definitely your calling.
Yeah. No, thank you for asking that, Lenny. I think I think the best actors are the ones who have lived life. There's a certain instinct that you have, and I always marvel when I see children who are great actors, and that's a God-given talent.
Right.
It's just an instinct that they have. But a lot of times that's playing yourself. If you want to start playing other characters and learn how to become other people, that I think takes technique, and it helps to have training. But then you got to learn, and I had to learn to just let the training go and just be. And kind of come full circle and remind myself why I love what I do. And part of it is because you just get to become other people and have fun. I mean, when I was training in college, it was a conservatory, and they worked our butts off, man. And sometimes you get so bogged down in the dogmatic format of the technicality of finding the character and doing the research, and then you got to remind yourself just be that person. Live and breathe that human being. So that's what the part I love about the work mostly is when you can just play, and that's where we are now with this play. You got to build it first, and that's the rehearsal period. You never stop learning. Every night. I discovered something new last night. Actually, I was trying something different.
Really?
Yeah, but you never stop learning. But it's nice when you can get past the building of the foundation, and now we're playing, now we're clowning.
And speaking of the foundation, what you're standing on, the shoulders of what you're standing on, are two phenomenal people called your mama and your daddy.
Oh yeah.
And your daddy just recently retired, I want to think, as a colonel in the U.S. Army.
Yeah,
no?
well, he actually retired, man, about 20 some years ago. But he's 87 years old. He's
God bless
87
him.
years young.
God bless, yes.
He and my mom came to the opening night, and I was happy about that. My mom's been in a wheelchair for 25 years. She has multiple sclerosis, but still just as fiery as you can imagine.
I know,
my
that's
dad's
right.
87, doing his thing, walking, and just very youthful. And they're my heroes, man. But my dad's retired Army colonel, 29 years in the Army, retired full bird colonel, and so my life growing up, especially my younger years, was they were all on Army bases, so that whole perspective and access to military lifestyle, military bearing, how you walk, talk, act, the respect level, the notion of country, honor, duty, that was it was drilled into us, but I saw it living and breathing in my father every day. So really, a lot of what I'm doing on that stage is informed by him and inspired by him.
Was your father based in the South at any point throughout the time that you were young?
Fort Benning, Georgia at one point. I was too young at that point, but we lived in Colorado, Michigan, Germany, Kansas, and then Fort Benning, Georgia.
Wow. That's amazing. You have a lot to pull from, and you have a lot to be proud of, and obviously your parents are loving and proud of you and your brother.
Thank you.
Is your brother doing acting? He's in the whole
Frank, I started acting because of him, actually. Just in
Really?
high school. He was doing a high school play. He's 3 years older than I am, and I just watching his process. He was in high school. I was in junior high school, but he'd come home every day and say, man, we got auditions today, and then I didn't get that part, but somebody else got that part, and then just the different layers as you layer it in, as the wardrobe, and the learning the lines, and then the lights, and then the costumes, then you add the audience, and just that process, man. I was fascinated by it.
Wow.
But that's the first time I got that spark inside me. It's like,
It's interesting
I
because
wanna try that.
my older brother was interested in radio,
Oh,
and he
for real?
doesn't do radio.
Wow. But he
Yeah.
exposed you to it.
He exposed me to it. Blair Underwood with us. Before we get him out of here tonight, we're going to delve a little deeper in a few other different directions, but he's got a lot going on. If you're in the tri-state area in New York for a limited time only at the American Airlines Theater, you'll find Blair Underwood and Dave Allen Greer and a wonderful cast of talented, amazing actors doing a soldier's play. Now, in addition to that, you need to learn some more Black history. Make sure you pick up the book, because the book Olympic Pride and, of course, American Prejudice is available. And then on March 20th on Netflix is Self-Made, the story about Madam C.J. Walker. You have chosen and selected some wonderful roles over the years, and I know, we all have choices in life. And some things I'm sure you have to turn away at some point in your life, and then some things you knew that there were good things to move upon. Any regret on any things that you have rejected and turned away that turned out to be successful, or you just feel that it wasn't destined and meant for you to be in that role and someone else delivered it and gave it in a different spin?
Nah, no regrets on anything I turned away. I got feelings about stuff I wanted to happen that wasn't meant for me at the time. No, I'm kidding. But you're always going to have that as an actor.
Always.
But no regrets. Something I turned down and it just kind of blew up, without me.
Gotcha. Okay.
So far.
Okay. No, that's a good thing, because, sometimes we reject certain things and we found out that, well, maybe this wasn't meant for us. And I think that's the universe telling us at times that maybe certain things aren't meant for us despite of what we want. Certain things are meant and some things are not meant at the end of the day. Is there any other things, though? Because you mentioned just a moment ago, are there any other things that Blair Underwood would love to do at this stage of the game? Because you're a producer, you're a director.
Oh, yeah, man.
So
Lenny,
can we expand on that?
I really feel like I'm just starting.
I hear that.
It's 35 years in the game, but I feel there's so much left to do. Part of that is I have a production company, and a lot of that entails film and television. This book deal, just very briefly, this is the 6th book under my imprint, Blair Underwood Presents. And when I did my first book about 15 years ago, I realized when I was making the book deal, Simon & Schuster, they asked me, would you go out and get on like the Today Show and national television shows and Good Morning America and promote it? I said, absolutely. And I know that's what tipped the scale.
Right.
But I also realized that I didn't really have to know how to write. I just had to be able to promote it, have the vehicle to promote, have access to market it. So from that point on, I wanted to, I've looked for and reached out to different authors that are diamonds in the rough, people who have not been published yet, who deserve to be published, voices who need to be heard. And I just, as like a producerial kind of platform. Just say Blair Underwood Presents, but I don't believe in ghostwriting. If somebody else writes it, they deserve the name. That's their name down there. Deborah Draper and Travis Thrasher that wrote this book.
Got it.
I just get to go out there and talk about it.
And present it.
And present it.
That's it.
Exactly. So I'm excited about that. So I say that also because I'm always looking, get at me. If you got a story and books that need to be published, that haven't been published, that's kind of what I want to be able to do. So.
And the name of your production company would be?
Well, I'm changing production companies this year, but this is just under Blair Underwood Presents. So you just hit me up on social media.
Got it. Can't let you go without talking about love. And looking at your wonderful relationship with your wife, man, for all these years in this crazy business called Hollywood or just entertainment is a wonderful love story in itself. I want to just go back and reflect upon the first time you saw your wife and you knew it was her. Or did it not happen like that? And you kind of realized that this woman is really ideal for me.
Well, the first time I saw her, I knew I was attracted to her, but I didn't know that she was the one.
Okay.
I think on our first date, I'll be honest with you, things happened for me. I was 21 when I got on a show called LA Law. That ran for 8 years. So things were coming at me fast and furious just in terms of career and everything that comes with that. Sudden attention, access to anything and everything. Yeah. So, I enjoyed that, but I was getting burnt out. So by the time I met Desiree, who became my wife 26 years now this year.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. I was tired of just frivolous relationships. I was looking for something more. So, I know God put her in my path at that time because I was looking and needed something else. And she was that special person that I believe God put in my life.
No question.
I look
26 years has
3 kids, ages 18, 21, and 23 today.
Look at
my
this.
son is 23 today.
Wow.
But no, she was the right one, and I think so much of it, and it's hard. Again, I have 3 young people. One's a teenager, the other in their 20s. But they're looking for relationships now, and they're asking me questions like, "Well, what did you know? What did you look for?" And I said, you gotta just try to be yourself, be honest, be authentic, and pray that God puts the right mate in your life. Because I think, man, if I had chosen the wrong one or any of them that came before, right. I don't know if I'd still be married.
A different ballgame.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She's amazing.
Look, you know what? Your children have a lot to look up for, and you both are wonderful role models for them to just find that person, not settle just for anything.
Yeah, and ask the right questions because it's hard and it takes time.
And we don't ask the right questions as adults these days.
No, that's right. And give it time. You can't rush into a relationship.
But everybody, we're living in a fast world, man. We want instantaneous. We want a relationship. We want that love instantaneously. What's about courting? Courting was something like that.
Remember that concept?
Yep.
And that's the thing. When we met, I wanted to do that. There's a lot of things I said. Let's just get to know each other.
Yeah.
It was just time. So I was in that space, and she was in that space. Let's just take some time and get to know each other.
That's a very good trait, I think, because I have the same.
Oh, do you? Yeah. What are we rushing for?
let's just get acquainted.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, I'm always happy when we can get acquainted, man, and learn just a little bit more and sit down and chop it up. And
man, I appreciate you.
Brother, I wish you continued success and happiness as you continue to go through this journey of life. And please continue to do, as we only know that you can do, is great things. So
thank you. You've always been so supportive, brother, from the very beginning. I appreciate you and appreciate the work you do. And longevity is a beautiful thing.
It is.
We're still kicking.
By God's blessings. Hey, look, get the book, see the play, and watch March 20th, Netflix. You'll see Self-Made. Blair Underwood is there. Of course, we can't forget about Octavia Spencer. She's playing Madam C.J. Walker, and she plays a phenomenal role. Phenomenal role.
She's a phenomenal role. Octavia Spencer, if I made Tiffany Haddish. J. Alphonse Nicholson is in it. Garrett Morris, Bill Bellamy.
Really?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal cast.
I can't wait to see it. Netflix, baby, March 20th. Until next time, Brother Blair Underwood, many blessings to you. And in closing, what motto can you leave us with? Because I know you're very much about positive affirmations. What do you when you wake up every day, or when you start going on a certain project, or you're venturing to do a certain thing, what affirmation or what positive thought comes to your mind to make you go at it stronger, stay focused, and accomplish what you want to accomplish?
I think 2 things. Number 1, that God is in control, because the world will make you think that an agent or a manager or a network exec or studio exec or somebody else has control over your life. God is in control, number 1. And number 2, don't follow your dreams. Stalk that sucker down until you get it.
I love it. Blair Underwood, baby, or the Quiet Storm.